Yes. Thanks for the information. Okay. Um, I think here we are. So welcome Parvati, welcome all sisters for this beautiful time that we have been energizing for all of us to come together, feel into what is present in this new moon in Cancer. And joining me today is Sister Parvati, and she we just shared a few moments, a few personal experiences of what it means to be in the West, coming from Indian lineage, and we had a laugh about it. But the interesting thing that I want to say about Parvati is that I absolutely love how she is bringing the Vedic information from this lineage, very powerful lineage, and very it's a very complex system. And I have witnessed her work, and I'm really happy to present this to you so that we as women can get the whole range of energies available for this lunar cycle. So I'm going to say just a little bit about Parvati, and then we will begin. And I gotta see if there are any comments, then please feel free to put in here on Facebook. Yeah, so Parvati is a lineage-based Jyotish, or in English you can call it as a Vedic astrologer, who combines her knowledge of astrology, Ayurveda, Vedanta, Tantra, to help guide and illuminate her clients, knowing their true nature and essence. So, sister, welcome.
Thank you, Jonita. Happy New Moon.
Happy New Moon. So, share to begin with. Please share with us what got you into this work.
Oh, wow. I've always been interested in astrology. Actually, it's very interesting. My grandfather, my paternal grandfather, practiced Jyotish, and Jyotish literally means science of light. Jyoti is light, like the Jyotirlingams, right?
Yeah.
So it's the divine science of light. And my grandfather on my mother's side was a Vedya, and he practiced Kundalini yoga. So first, I was studying Western astrology when I was younger, and then I moved into studying the Vedic sciences. First was Ayurveda,
Mm.
and then hand in hand with Ayurveda, they have this thing called Jyotish, where you can use Jyotish to see what areas that you might be having issues with. It's medical Jyotish, basically.
Ah.
And so then I started to study Jyotish as well, which I just loved. You know, when we were younger in India, we have this tradition. Everybody has their kundali, everybody has knows their sign and their moon, um and it's very much, it's a very complex system. So you know, it took me a while to see and understand it, but when I started to dive into it, I could see how precise Jyotish really is. And one thing I do want to mention here is very important, is that the Vedic astrology does not in any way, shape, or form negate the Western system. And I think it's important for people to understand it's just a different method of of reading the energies of the stars. What I like to tell my clients is that English and French, we use the same alphabet, but we speak a totally different language to say, but we can say the same thing, right? We can communicate the same thing in a different way. So, whenever there's a method or a practice or a science that leads to truth, there's many paths to get to that same truth. So, yes.
Yeah. So let's go into this topic of this lunar cycle. What have you received in transmission regarding this new moon in Cancer?
Okay, so I'm going to explain a little bit, really briefly, about why the Vedic system is a little bit different than the Western system. The Western system is called tropical astrology, and the reason it's called tropical astrology is because it takes into account the sun and its movement between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer, the equinoxes and the solstices. Okay, now, that's why in tropical astrology, you go by your sun sign. Now, in this going by your sun sign, the sun is in one sign for 30 days. So there's many, 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 many people born in that 30-day period. So 1/12 of the entire population of the earth, it shares the same sun sign.
Mm.
In Vedic astrology, we take into it's called sidereal astrology. So we take into account the fixed stars and what's called the precession of the equinoxes. Now, everybody's heard about how we're going into the age of Aquarius, right? From the age of Pisces. It's due to the tilt of the earth, right? And the North Pole going through all of the zodiac, and it happens every 2,500 years. We change a sign. Okay, so it goes from Aries to Pisces to Aquarius. So that's why if you look at Vedic astrology, everything is 23, 24 degrees backwards, because we take into account the precession of the equinoxes and where the planets actually are in the sky. So if you have one of those apps, right, you could actually look and see where the planets actually are. And that's why Vedic astrology A is more precise, but we also take into account your moon sign and your rising sign. Now, the moon is in one zodiac sign for 2.5 days, more or less. That's still less than, it's less than 30 days, but still a lot of people. But the moon moves through what we call the nakshatras, or the fixed stars, which is what the sidereal system is based on, one a day. So it really hones in on like the area of the sky that this moon's energy is being imbibed with. Okay. And then the rising sign changes every 2 hours. So we take a combination of your nakshatras and your rising, your mental and your physical, to really have a personalized report that reflects your life in detail. So that's just a little bit of background so people understand the difference. Now, this new moon, now the nakshatras are called the wives of the moon.
Oh, okay.
All of the planets in the Vedic astrology pantheon are masculinized, including the moon and Venus. But that's just for the stories, right? For the great stories, the Puranic stories that we have about, and they're beautiful, amazing stories, actually. So the moon goes and he visits one of his wives every night through his revolution around the zodiac, right? Because he's so juicy. And this new moon, he's visiting the star um, that is in the heart of Gemini, Castor and Pollux, is called Purnarvasu. And Purnarvasu, each nakshatra has a planetary ruler and a lord, a deity. And the deity for Purnarvasu, it's a really soft, gentle, very auspicious nakshatra, is Aditi. And Aditi is the great primordial mother goddess. She's cited many, many times. She's referred to in the Rig Veda. Um, and she is the one who she represents eternal light. So it's such a beautiful, powerful new moon. Now, when the moon is dark, as you know, it's the time to plant and sow the seeds of intention that we want to grow for the month. The moon in Vedic astrology represents our emotions as well as our minds.
Mm.
So when the moon is dark, it lacks light, right?
Yeah.
When the moon is full, we have more clarity, but when it's dark, so this is the time that we want to like do the inner work. This is the time where we really want to use our self reflection. We want to look back at the energies of the previous month and see, okay, what is it that we want to sow and grow for this coming month? And also, what do we want to weed out? The last full moon was in this nakshatra called Mula, which is on the cosmic plane. It is like above the galactic center. And it mula, as you know, as a yogi, is the root, like the muladhara. So, what do we want to root out? What do we want to tap further into, right? So, in this carrying forward, what do we want to nourish? What do we want to grow? How have we been a great mother, goddess? In our own lives to ourselves, where can we nourish ourselves better as our own great mother and therefore be able to nourish others? What are we giving birth to, bringing forth in our lives? What are we growing? Yes.
Yeah, and I like how you are taking us through step-by-step explanation because it can get very complex. But on the other hand, you explained it well. This is the time for introspection,
Yes.
and most importantly, also to remove what is not required in order to create space for the new, as well. And couple of days ago we did dark moon transmission in Cancer, and we worked with the dark energies that we begin to feel as women, like when we come close to this new lunar cycle, that the emotions are heightened. And what I have noticed, a lot of us were sharing that they are experiencing a lot of resentment and
Yes.
a lot of anger that is coming up. And what I invited them is to go into the witness consciousness. There's nothing to do with that, but how about let's just see what's happening inside our heads, because those emotions are in our thoughts. The anger was so someone gave an example that was really okay. I'll not mention that right now, but the anger, the resentment that we are feeling is a result of something that requires our attention right now.
Yes.
So, how does this relate to what is present right now in the coming lunar
Yes.
cycle?
I'm really glad you asked this question because a lot of people are feeling this. And what's very interesting, okay, is Mars, right? The planet Mars, and it's with Venus right now in the sky. And in Vedic astrology, Mars is in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. Okay, and Mars does not feel comfortable in the sign of Cancer. If you think about it, it's actually, according to Vedic astrology, it's debility. It's at its debilitated point. So it's the warrior planet that's in all of this watery, Cancerian sign. So it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't, if it was in Aries or Sagittarius or in a fiery sign,
Taurus.
it's natural, right? It's in its natural place. But in Cancer, it's not. It doesn't know what to do. So it tends to either have emotional disruptions, but more than that, it tends to project as well as be passive aggressive because it's not direct in these watery signs. So we can really be feeling it. And as women, especially, we're so tied to the moon because the moon is actually the mother, right? It's nourishing. It's the yeah, it's our mothers in Vedic astrology. It's our emotions. So just remember, what I always tell my clients is the moon goes from dark to full in 2 weeks. It's always moving. So when these things come up, it's a potent reminder inside of ourselves to witness, like you said, but also not take it, not personalize it. These
Mm,
energies are beyond global. They're cosmic energies, and
yeah,
we are the vessel, we are the vehicle that is passing through them. And not to identify that this is my anger, but just to see that the anger is arising, and
present.
knowing as it arises, so shall it pass as well. And I think one of the most important things with this, and I'm sure this is what you do and this is your expertise, is to have techniques and practices so that when these things come up, we are able to be the center
Mm,
of that storm.
mm. Yeah, and yeah, so a lot of us were feeling that we were experiencing this anger and this emotion, but it's not necessarily ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we can tap into that collective energy field as well. And sometimes it's somebody else's story, but it was agitating our inside our thoughts, inside our heads. So I like how you're explaining that it you don't have to go and fight it, or like how personal development teaches, like now figure it out or let it go or do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all one, right? I mean, in the highest cosmic sense. Of course, like on the earth, we have our individuations, but these are cosmic energies. You know, the moon, it affects the entire tides of our oceans. And and the water within us, right? There's a reason that they call it Luna, lunacy, lunatic, right? So it's just the awareness of it. And if you feel like you have to do something, then do something, channelize it, express it, write, create, scream into a pillow, whatever to make yourself comfortable. But it's important to not think that there's something wrong with you because you're feeling it or that this is yours.
So what else is in store as we progress from this new moon phase? Now that we are here, and we have another 28 days to work with the energies.
Yes, 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 we do. So let's see, we have this full moon, and we have okay, so the next, it's really nice. The next full moon is what's known in India as Guru Purnima.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
one where we thank our teachers. So we go from Aditi, right? We go from this like great possibility of eternal light, and we move through the zodiac. Um, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. What's today? Sorry. Today is the 9th. So in a couple of weeks around the time, and I'm sorry, I'm doing this off the top of my head, all right? So forgive me if it's not completely on point, but it's roughly on point. We're gonna have the Venus and um, Mars moving signs from Cancer into Leo. So you're going to feel this shift. And I think whatever resentments that have been coming up for you are going to come out because Leo is a very, right? It's like a nurturing sign, Cancer, versus the, hey, me, look at me kind of. And no offense to any Leos out there. No offense. It's just an energy, okay? But it's the energy of the king, right? So it can be, we can feel like maybe our egos coming more into play. What's good about the movement is like right now, we also have this planet Saturn, right, opposing Cancer in Capricorn. So that Saturn also makes us, like, ruminate on things, right? The Cancer like holds, sorry, Capricorn, Saturn holds on to things. Saturn's very slow to let things go. So that's going to help to clear and help that energy to move and be expressed. Just be aware that you're not putting it on, like picking a fight or causing conflict where there can be resolution. You have to be careful with Mars. You know, Mars is a very fiery planet. So you just need to check yourself with that. Yeah, and then the moon is going to move through the zodiac as it does. And then when it gets to the full moon, it's like, okay, this is what we've learned. And thank you to our teachers for giving us this wisdom. You know, one really important thing I forgot to mention about this new moon is that its planetary ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter is the great guru, right? The great teacher of knowledge. So also we can ask this the cosmic guru to guide us and to give us guidance until we get to the new full moon, as to, okay, what is it in our lives that we wish to grow, that we wish to nourish, that we wish to nurture and mother in a way. I hope that helps to answer.
Yes, I'm reading one of the comments. Anu has typed in, I'm dying to pick up fights. So,
Yes, I bet you are.
yeah, yeah. So, what would you say to sisters? Let's say that we are feeling all of these, and then we wonder that how can we utilize all the energies that you have mentioned? What are the things we can do, or what are the things that we can avoid? And also, the second part of my question is for women who are new to astrology, or maybe they're not sure. What do you say? Like, how do they even go into this vast subject?
Wow. Okay, so I'll take the second question first.
Yeah.
And if you're new to astrology, the best thing to do is to find a good astrologer and follow the phases of the moon. For example, for in on my channel, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Visionary Veda, and I do new moon and full moon reports based on Vedic astrology. You can find any astrologer that you resonate with, that you enjoy, that you feel like is encapsulating what you're feeling, like that you resonate with, and just see how it's unfolding for you, right? Especially with the moon, because the moon affects us on such uh, a emotional and mental level. So you can start tracking the moon. And this is a really beautiful way to get into rhythm with the natural forces, right? I mean, in the olden days, this is what everybody lived by. We lived by the moon calendar,
Yeah.
right? Our menses is according to the moon. Planting is, the old even today in the farmer's almanac, people plant and harvest by the moon. So just start to follow the moon cycles, and this will put you in tune with yourself. And then you can see how it reflects in your life. Um, Now, what to do about these energies? This is a great question. Um,
Yeah.
the first thing to do that I find is very, very helpful for me is to do some sort of spiritual practice, because I've talked in my channel. Now this is a concept, and let me know if it's okay to bring it up here. But this is a Vedic concept that is very, very helpful, of the guna,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Raja, Sattva, and Tamas, right? So where we are in the quality of our mind is going to be how we're going to be able to deal with it. If we're not having any kind of a practice that grounds us, that helps us come to a state of balance, no one has to be perfect. It's all a process.
Mm.
But then we're going to be easily influenced by these energies. So what I always recommend is mantra. Why do I recommend mantra? Because mind is manas, and mantra is that which conditions and stabilizes the mind. So any kind of mind stabilizing practice. It doesn't have to be mantra. It can be anything that helps you is what I would do for these energies to help you with it. If
Yeah, I like that you touched about having a dedicated spiritual practice because there is so much going around. If we do not root ourselves on a regular basis, then we can just be carried away in everyone else's drama. And I know so many women, I mean, we all are busy. Yeah, tell me someone who is not busy in this world, especially women. But this is the essence of our life. If we do not have time to make or create space for a spiritual practice every single day, then I think the right question to ask is, okay, what are we living for? And if we are so busy that we do not have this time, um, how do you see the new moon intention setting process as per this the work that you do? What are the ways you recommend?
Oh, it's perfect. This is a perfect. It's so beautiful that we're doing this on this new moon actually, because it's the perfect new moon. Because it's the Aditi. It's the mother of all the Adityas. It's the mother of all the creation gods. So that mother we have the access to on this new moon. So if there's anything that we want to put into place to nourish ourselves, Aditi is the great mother that we can tap into. She also represents the earth. So it doesn't have to be Vedic practices. It can be earth-based practices. It can be like, okay, I want to, do something with the sun, or I want to do something with the earth. Like I want to ground, like every day I want to go and I want to sit on the earth and ground on the earth and just because how how we nurture ourselves, right? How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So how you nurture yourself, in turn, you're going to be able to that much more in your lives, right? Like we have to take care of our vessels, mind, body, and spirit. And to see ourselves, I think a good practice is for those of us that struggle with it, because we all struggle with it. It's easy for me to say, okay, do this, do this, do this. But I also, struggle with my daily routine and my practice and, feeling like some days, um, where was my track? Oh my gosh, did I what was it? But
Using the mother energy to work with.
yes, but oh, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah,
Yes,
you come back.
to nurture
So,
using the mother energy, the Aditi energy, nourishing ourselves, and oh yes, to see yourself if you have a trouble with being able to nourish yourself, right? Is to see yourself as your own child. Take care of yourself as if you're your own little baby. And how would you treat that?
yeah.
If it's hungry, you would feed it, or you would treat it gently.
Yeah. So, few days ago, we completed the 9 days of the Feminine Empress Activation Temple, and we worked with three particular archetypes: the warrior, the mother, and the lover. And when we were going into the mother archetype and the essence of it, what came up for a lot of women is this disconnection. We are really good in mothering others, but what is really
Yes,
required right now is us mothering ourselves. It's like we have to reparent this new person we are becoming on a regular basis. And one of the practices that keeps us connected is going back to our womb space and accessing that comfort, that creativity, that wisdom that is present there. So I just wanted to put that across. If someone is wondering, like, okay, where do I begin? What do I even do? Couple of minutes of womb breathing with your intentions. I think that's just enough to ground yourself. And also working with the wounded child, look after her needs, listen to
Yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah. A lot of times she's just screaming because she just wants our attention, and she wants us to drop in, with that deeper part of ourselves.
Mm,
Yes, that's so beautiful. It's a
yeah,
beautiful practice.
yeah. One of the things we discussed in the Dark Moon transmission also was the Cancerian energy of looking for security. So one of the dark sides is that we can be so inclined towards security, or finding or chasing security and stability and that safety net, that we ignore our soul's needs. So where are we playing with that? And I think for us women, again, it brings us back to the mothering energy, that look into, where are we actually compromising on our soul's needs just for the sake of, security, safety, because life is not meant to be safe.
No, there's no, what is it? There's no growth. There's no evolution in the known, right?
Yeah, well said.
When you right? So, one thing, and this is a profound topic, actually, this topic of security. And one thing that I keep going back to is that we are held, the mother, the great mother. And if we want to connect, the best mother to connect with is the Mother Earth itself. Just look at her,
Mm,
right? Each and every one of us is held by her. Everything we need, she provides to
mm,
everybody. She doesn't say, okay, you get this and you don't, and you go out and come here. Everybody equally, she nourishes and she provides. So I think really having gratitude for the mother and having the trust and faith that you've come this far in life. You've been held, been supported, you're here, right?
yeah.
That you you're not gonna be forsaken
Mm,
with
yeah.
all of your children,
Yes.
with all you have to remember that.
Mm,
It's a very deep topic, the
yeah.
topic of security, actually.
That's true. It's kind of building that trust, isn't it? It's like knowing and creating a relationship of trust, inch by inch, one step at a day. Um, uh, there is a question asked by one of the sisters: what
Okay.
mantras do you recommend? When you spoke about mantra.
Okay, so um, the mantras in general, right, are something very unique to your individual birth chart. But there are a few mantras that I can share that are general mantras that can help anybody. And so for the moon, especially, I love doing the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. It's a very simple mantra, and the reason we do Om Namah Shivaya for the moon is because Lord Shiva, he actually wears the moon in his hair, right? So he's like more resplendent, or a, he's more seen as someone that we evoke for the mind, for the moon. Another really beautiful one that I've taught on my channel is really beautiful because this is not attributed to any deity, right? This is attributed to Soma, um, which what the drink that they used to create under the moon, and it's Asatoma Satgamaya,
Yeah.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya, and this is beautiful. It means please deliver us from the false to the real, from the darkness to the light, and from death to immortality. and Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And so this one I also love to chant.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so many wisdom bites that you've been sharing, sister. I'm just going to read some comments
My
here.
pleasure.
So, Melissa is sharing that it's a beautiful way to think about a safety net, especially for us crabs who carry our shells. Yeah, we are safer than we think we are. Yeah, that is true. And I think we often
Yes, yes.
do not acknowledge the crazy life experiences that we have overcome. Yeah, that's one of the ways
Yes.
also.
And
Go ahead.
one thing that helps me not sure or just confused or alone is it um you can go how many months without eating? You can go a long time without taking food, right? I think, like, let's say 3 months. And you can go 3 weeks, I don't know how long, without water. But you cannot go 3 minutes without air, right? And this is the thing that sustains us. And it's something that we don't even think about. We don't have to worry and be insecure. When's my next breath? What if my next breath doesn't come? We are being breathed. This is how much we are being supported in our lives. This without breathing, that's it. Everything else is out the window. It's done. And yet we don't even have to think about that. What grace is that? What grace, right? So then you just like let go and know that it's okay. I'm being kept alive.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We often take our breath for granted. We don't even give it the acknowledgement that this is sustaining us. And in fact, we might just do some womb breathing before we close. But I want to ask you if there is anything else that you want to share, something that we have missed according to you, or something that is coming up for you.
No, I feel really complete. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if anybody's interested in checking out my work, I have a YouTube channel. It's Visionary Veda, Veda on YouTube, and I have a website as well, and Facebook and all that. To continue to do your work with this beautiful goddess Jonita as guiding you, loving ourselves, connecting with each other, celebrating these things like the moon coming together as community for these full moons and new moons and sharing. I think is very enriching and very nourishing, and that you're not alone. We're all going, it's very interesting times we're all going through, and to stay connected and stay grateful. And I'm just very grateful to all of you for having me. So thank you.
Yeah, so beautiful, sister. So I will be linking Parvati's work in the description and in the comments, so you can have a look at her work and tune in regularly during the new moons and full moons to feel into her astrology report and see if this is something that you can work with. And yeah. So what I would like to do before we close, we spoke about a lot of things. We spoke about our dark emotions, and we also spoke about heightened emotions. We spoke about the Divine Mother presence. We spoke about the universal support that is always ever present and has always been and always will be. And just feeling into that, let's just take a moment, and wherever you are, let's close our eyes and feel into what would you like to call in for this new lunar cycle that we are entering today. If there is a little desire or a big desire, or anything that came up for you as we were sharing, as we sisters were sharing, anything that came up, and must it doesn't have to be something big. It can be something, a beautiful intention of that, you would like to take care of your inner child and listen and be led. So, any simple thing that comes for you in your awareness as part of the dark moon transmission and the sharing that happened today with Sister Parvati and us together, just feel into that. And we will do some womb breathing here. I invite you to take a deep breath in from your nose, and let's literally focus on our breath, the flow from the nose to the throat, through the heart, and going deep down into the belly. You may feel your belly expanding and holding the breath there, filling your belly and dropping the seed of intention into your belly. It's literally like you drop a stone into these dark waters, into this beautiful pool, your cauldron. And now we will exhale through the mouth. And let your exhale be as slow as your inhale. So do not rush to simply exhale. So exhaling gently through the mouth. Let's do this one more time. Breathing in through the nose. Just noticing, appreciating this breath flowing in from the nose, throat, our heart, into the belly. Filling it with the new energy, fresh breath, fresh awareness. Dropping our seed of intention. And this time, as we exhale, also imagine a dark, murky, dark brown water leaving your womb and flowing back into the earth. This is something that you are ready to release. You're releasing it back in terms of any anger, any resentment that you no longer require in this moment. Releasing it to the earth and exhaling. Giving it back to Mother Earth. And one last time, let's breathe in through the nose into the belly, dropping the seed of intention, feeling your belly expanding, and releasing these dark waters of no longer required elements, energy, essence, emotions, and exhaling through the mouth. And this gentle, beautiful practice is always there with you. You can do this anytime. Anytime you feel overwhelmed or you want to go back into this Divine Mother presence that is inside of you. Yeah. So, thank you so much for your time, Goddess Parvati.
My pleasure.
And I hope, sisters, you received some beautiful wisdom bites from our conversation. And if there are any questions, feel free to put it in the comments. We will be coming back here, and I will be also linking Parvati's work so that you can go explore this woman and follow her and be in touch. Let's widen our circle of sisterhood here. Thank you, Parvati.
Thank you, Jonita. Thank you, everybody, who joined. Happy New Moon.
Happy New Moon.